This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Gamers, have you guys seen that Matrix Unreal 5 showcase? Holy shit, that was absolutely insane. For real, if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, you can download it right now for free. It's like a 10-minute demo and is literally the most incredible thing I've ever seen come out of a games console, except for this part. Man, I don't know what's wrong with Keanu's body here. Something's weird. You know, I read this quote that said the uncanny valley phenomenon that we experience suggests that there were once things that looked human but weren't, and that we should fear them. If that quote doesn't keep you up at night, then nothing will. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This Week in Video Games, the show that is, well, perfectly described by the title. You really don't need me to explain it to you. We're here to talk about the biggest gaming news of the week, and there is no bigger news than Jeff Keighley's annual game trailer-rama. So let's start there, shall we? The Game Awards gets the shit kicked out of it every year. Many people are upset that so much focus is put on advertising upcoming games and building hype rather than, you know, celebrating the awards, which are meant to be the whole point of the show, right? But the Game Awards got like 84 million viewers last year, and I don't think it would have got a fraction of that if it didn't strike a balance between celebrating the work that has already been done on released games and building hype and excitement for the work currently being done on upcoming games. I guess this is just me saying that I'm not nearly as cynical towards the Game Awards as most. I like knowing that probably like 100 million people got to see It Takes Two win Game of the Year this year, where far fewer people would have seen that happen were they not tuning in hoping to get a Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay trailer. Spoiler alert, they did not get a Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay trailer. But yes, awards were distributed. Forza Horizon 5 won Best Sports and Racing Game, which was extremely well deserved, but it also won Best Audio. And not to take away from Forza's audio, because it's great, but have you guys played Returnal? The sound design in that game is god tier, so that result was a little bit of a head scratcher. Best Fighting Game went to Guilty Gear Strive, no surprises there given how much love that one gets. Same goes for Tales of Arise, which won Best RPG of the Year, beating out Shin Megami Tensei 5, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, and Cyberpunk, which is a good game, but it's not a very good RPG. Arise really struck a chord this year with a fan base old and new, so it's nice to know that it got that recognition. Best Action Adventure Game was a very competitive category, with the likes of Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil Village, Psychonauts 2, and Metroid Dread all squaring off against each other, but Nintendo secured the bag here. Metroid Dread hit all the right notes for the ever-patient Metroid fandom, and while it wasn't the most wildly innovative Metroidvania, it was fun and cool, and Samus was a badass, even if she didn't smile enough. Best Action Game went to Returnal. This made me extremely happy because Returnal is fucking sick, and I loved it, and I think it was robbed of a Game of the Year nomination. It deserves to be on that list in my opinion. Same goes for Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think deserves more nods than it got, but it did take home Best Narrative of the Year, which, yeah, that makes sense. The writing in that game is easily the best writing in any AAA game this year, except for maybe Psychonauts 2, so well done to Eidos Montreal for that one. Best Ongoing Game and Best Community Support went to Final Fantasy XIV, because it is the best ongoing game, and the Community Support Award is actually for how the community supports the developers. For real, you've never seen a community heap more praise and appreciation on the people making their game than you have with the Final Fantasy XIV community, and it's a testament to just how much love and care those developers have poured into that game over the past decade. The Best Mobile Game Award went to
Genshin Impact.
I'm sorry, what?
Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact. Haven't heard of that one. Guess I'll Google it. Thanks for that. Kena Bridge of Spirits won Best Debut Indie Game and Best Indie Game of the Year, which is nice, but I hear some incredible things about Inscription, so I'm gonna have to check out that one soon. Deathloop won Best Art Direction, beating Psychonauts 2, Kena, Ratchet & Clank, and Artful Escape. 4 games that all have better art direction than Deathloop. Deathloop also won Best Game Direction, beating out It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet & Clank. 4 games that all have better game direction than Deathloop. You guys are getting a bit of a teaser for my upcoming Deathloop video, by the way. Tippity top honors went to Hazelight Studios and their absolutely magnificent It Takes Two. When I played it earlier this year, I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best games I've ever played, and I worried that it would get overlooked because of its co-op requirement, or its all-ages aesthetic, or how little EA marketed it, but much like Joseph Fares himself, It Takes Two was no shrinking violet, breaking through all those barriers to claim the coveted Game of the Year award. Joseph delivered a gracious, eloquent speech befitting the moment. Let's take a listen.
So unreal, this thing. I was up on that stage 2017 saying fuck the Oscar, and now Actually, in a way, the Oscars got fucked because the Game Awards is getting way better. So.
Yes. 2 F-bombs in the first 12 seconds. Love it. Never change, Joseph. Never change. In addition to the awards, there were also the, world premieres, which is what most people tuned in for. So let's kick things off with this one. This is Evil West from developer Flying Wild Hog, and damn if this isn't one of the best reveals of the entire show. Nothing I don't love about this. They're releasing this next year on all platforms but the Switch. Saints Row got a new gameplay trailer, which was a hell of a lot more impressive than anything we'd seen before. I still have my doubts about the tone and the writing for this one, but it looks fun as hell and you can absolutely sign me up for this. Oh man, this Hellblade 2 trailer. Oh my god. Okay, watch this. To my great shame, I've still not played Hellblade 1. I will definitely be remedying that before Hellblade 2 launches. Speaking of remedy, god damn, that was a good segue.
This story will eat you alive. This story is a monster.
Alan Wake 2 was easily the most hype reveal of the evening. Even though this was rumored, the confirmation sent fans into a euphoric trance. Sam Lake himself took to the stage to explain that the game was moving to the survival horror genre, which feels like a perfect fit, and it'll be great to see where Remedy takes this one. There's a new Telltale game based on The Expanse, and we're getting a Wonder Woman game from Monolith, the team behind the recent Shadow of War games. The creator of the original Silent Hill revealed his new game titled Slitterhead, and there's just something so creepy about that name. I don't know why, it just really freaks me out. Nightingale was revealed. Now this one is the work of a bunch of veteran devs, including former BioWare staff, and it looks like Valheim if it was set in ye olde Victorian times, and it had good graphics. It's combining building, survival, and RPG in a very tempting package. This one is certainly on my radar now. Warhammer 40k Space Marine is getting a sequel. Many consider Space Marine to be the best ever 40k game, so Warhammer nerds were very pumped about that one. We saw some gameplay for Suicide Squad from Rocksteady. God damn, take a look at this.
I'm the eye in the sky, taking point for you, Shark. Pulverize.
Who else needs a basket?
A lot of doubters falling deathly silent after seeing this one in action. Looks fantastic, but I never expected anything less from Rocksteady. There's a new Sonic game coming out called Sonic Frontier. It has grass, so therefore everyone is saying it gives off strong Breath of the Wild vibes, because no game is allowed to have grass anymore except for Breath of the Wild. Nintendo may as well trademark grass at this point. It's basically their intellectual property now. Finally, the trailer that piqued my interest the most was this one, Ark Riders from the newly formed Embark Studio. I'd play this one with sound, but it's full of licensed music, so sadly I can't. Just imagine lots of shooting and gunshots and explosions and that song that goes like, ooh, I keep dancing on my... Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. Okay, look, basically, it looks cool, and I like it. It's got this whole, War of the Worlds aesthetic going on, some cool action. It looks like lo-fi Destiny, and I'm very down for that. This one is out next year, fingers crossed. So that was the Game Awards. Lots of exciting games to play and celebrate, lots of new stuff to look forward to, but it wasn't all that happened this week, and there was plenty of other gaming news as well. For example, did you know that Android games are coming to PC? Announced during the Game Awards, Google revealed that they will soon make at least some Android native games playable through a PC client, a potential game changer given how much this could continue to blur the lines between mobile and core games that appear on consoles and PC. I'd bet big money on Steam getting in on this action as well at some point. In case you missed it, Halo Infinite is getting some new playlists. For weeks now, the community has been crying out for a way to queue for just Slayer, as well as a smattering of other community favorites. Well, they're getting their wish today as 343 confirmed that the new playlists will be rolling out in an update. I guess they solved those pesky UI limitations faster than they thought they could. Speaking of Halo, Bungie is having their 30th anniversary celebration in-game at the moment, a chance to earn classic Halo weapons like the Battle Rifle or the Magnum in Destiny 2. That's cool, and I'm having fun with it, but the important Bungie story this week comes from Rebecca Valentine of IGN, who this week filed an extensive report detailing issues with Bungie's workplace culture. The report describes toxic and and abusive leadership, a failure to hold those leaders to any reasonable standard, dangerous crunch leading to severe health conditions, and an HR department that was more concerned with protecting the company than it was its staff. For what it's worth, Bungie CEO Pete Parsons has welcomed the report, issuing a public statement that acknowledges Bungie's failings and highlighting their recent efforts to improve. Of note, the IGN article does point to the fact that Bungie have been working for many years to root out wrongdoers and implement systemic change, a far cry from the likes of Ubisoft, no pun intended, or Activision. Speaking of which, it looks like Activision staff are seriously considering unionizing in the wake of a damning lawsuit brought by the state of California, and Activision's executives are shitting themselves at the thought of it. This week, former attack dog of Mike Pompeo and current attack dog of Bobby Kotick, Brian Bulateo, sent out a letter to all Activision Blizzard staff warning them to quote-unquote consider the consequences of signing up to a union, saying that the staff would forfeit their right to individual bargaining and turn over that power to the union instead. Unions are complex topics, so I'll let Twitter user Choo Choo Motherfucker summarize my thoughts on the matter here. Quote, unions are like condoms. If someone is trying really hard to convince you that you don't need one, you really, really need one. End quote. Ubisoft is another company that has been mired in controversy for its toxic workplace culture, but this week they decided that not enough people hate them, so they're wading into the delightful world of NFTs. Ubisoft's latest initiative is called Quartz, and it kicks off in Ghost Recon Breakpoint where, and I shit you not, if you have played 600 hours of Breakpoint, you get given a shitty helmet that exists on some blockchain platform somewhere so you can sell it to someone else. The announcement was met with so much universal disdain that Ubisoft had to delist the video from YouTube, but that didn't stop the dislikes from pouring in, currently sitting at around 41,000 dislikes to just 1.6k likes. Great ratio there, Ubisoft, keep it up. If you need any more confirmation that NFTs are a massive scam, then I'm pleased to tell you that Peter Molyneux is now making an NFT game. Couldn't ask for better confirmation than that, really. By the way, did you guys see that Keanu interview where he dumpstered the concept of NFTs in 3 seconds flat? It's so good. Watch this.
And so when you think about the concept of digital scarcity and things that are, they can't be copied.
That are easily reproduced.
Well, but they're not the same, right?
Just when you thought you couldn't love Keanu anymore, God bless this man. The economics of video games is a fast-moving feast, and it's not just about NFTs, it's also about regular old box pricing. This week, Square Enix revealed the release date for their upcoming open-world RPG Forspoken, May 24th, by the way, and in so doing, they also revealed that the price of the game on PC will be $70 or 80 euros, foreshadowing that the price increase we saw for console games will soon arrive on PC. Broadly speaking, the regional pricing for this game is fucked. If we convert $70 to Australian dollars, we should be paying $95 for this. Instead, we're paying $114. Why? I'm buying it digitally, for God's sake. It's not like you bring it to me on a boat. PC gamers are not happy about this, but it feels all but inevitable given that the console market has well and truly eaten this price bump without breaking stride. The good news is that PC games are typically discounted faster and deeper than console games, but still, this transition does sting. And finally, you know all that cool shit we got in Death Stranding? Like, you leave behind a ladder and then another player can see it because the game implemented all these cool asynchronous multiplayer features? Well, guess what? No other game is going to be able to do that now because Sony just patented all those ideas. Yay. Sony submitted the patents back in 2019 with the release of the game, and they were just approved, meaning that they now hold the exclusive rights to many of the Strand-type game's best features. It's always extremely disappointing to see game studios lock away their best ideas behind patent law, but it's an accelerating trend that I expect we'll see more of. So, here's what I think about that. So, what got announced or delayed this week? Well, outside of the world premiere reveals that the Game Awards had in store for us, they also had plenty of release day announcements as well. Kicking things off is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which makes its way to PC on the 16th. That's really soon. This edition comes with a number of small improvements over the original, but the big addition is Intermission, which is the Yuffie DLC that was to this point exclusive to the PS5. No idea why they did that. This isn't exactly the moment of celebration that many fans were hoping for though, because number one, this is exclusive to the Epic Games Store for now, and number two, this is probably also going to cost $70 or 80 euros or $80,000 dues. It will surely be discounted eventually, but if you want to experience it on day one, then you're probably going to have to pony up the gill. Speaking of Square Enix, Babylon's Fall, the upcoming game from Platinum Studios but published by Square Enix, that one got a release date March 3rd next year. This one has undergone a significant transformation since its initial announcement, morphing into a co-op live service game with some serious graphical downgrading, and also they're borrowing armor sets from Final Fantasy XIV. Seriously, they did this with the permission and support of Final Fantasy XIV's director Yoshi P, but it's still weird that this new game coming out in 2022 is using art assets and armor developed for an MMO back in 2010. Homeworld has a new home in Gearbox, and they announced a launch window for Homeworld 3 Q4 next year. The new gameplay trailer they put out didn't have a whole lot of gameplay, but it did look nice. I'm just glad they're continuing this franchise because I do love me some Homeworld. Monster Hunter Rise is getting an expansion titled Sunbreak. It was revealed some time ago, but now it has a release window, summer next year, so sometime between June and August for those living in the Southern Hemisphere. It's not confirmed, but it does appear that this expansion will be launching simultaneously for both PC and Switch, which would be great. Lost Ark, the Korean-made but Amazon-published ARPG MMO hybrid, got a release date as well. It's locked in for February 11th next year. Earlier delayed to give New World enough time to, completely belly flop out of existence. Man, that one really blew up spectacularly when people started reaching the endgame, didn't it? Lost Ark is unlikely to do that since the game has been out for many years in other territories, so it looks like it'll go the distance so long as the free-to-play model isn't too odious. And the final Game Awards announcement was for some Cuphead DLC, which arrives on June 30th next year. It's called The Delicious Last Course. Love that name. At this point, it's impossible for me to hear the word Cuphead and not think of that clip of the guy failing at the tutorial. This was a truly seminal moment in games media. Oh my god. I just can't stop watching it. I've watched it 1,000 times, but I can never take my eyes away from it. I can't believe this is real! Outside of the Game Awards, there were plenty of other announcements this week as well. For example, we learned that Mercury Steam, the team behind Metroid Dread, are working on a third-person action RPG set in a dark fantasy world. Sadly, this is not a Metroid game. It is instead new IP co-owned by the studio and the publisher, 505 Games. This is super early in development, so I don't expect we're going to see anything from this one for quite some time. PUBG is going free-to-play on January 12th next year. This might surprise you if you live in Asia or India or wherever, because you'd be like, wait, isn't it already free? But here in the West, we still have to pay for it, or at least we did. Next year, PUBG will be competing directly with the likes of Warzone and Apex for the Battle Royale throne. You know what's interesting though? They're calling it PUBG Battlegrounds. But PUBG stands for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So really, this game is called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Isn't that interesting? No? Okay, let's move on. The Breach and Clear game Ready or Not is making an unplanned entry into early access sometime in the next 2 weeks. This is a fantastic looking tactical squad shooter where, much like Rainbow Six, you have to force your way into fortified areas. It's been in closed beta for a while now, but funnily enough, Steam won't issue them any more Steam keys unless they go into early access. So while this isn't what the developer wanted to do, they kind of have to do it. For what it's worth, I've heard great things about this title, and I think it'll do well when more people get their hands on it very soon. Scorn, remember that one? Revealed last year and impressing the shit out of everyone with its H.R. Geiger-inspired aesthetics. Scorn went completely radio silent after that, and we've all been wondering what the hell's going on. It resurfaced this week with a new teaser trailer offering up a release window, October next year. I don't even know what this thing is yet, but it looks cool, so I'm down for it. We may never again get another Wipeout or F-Zero game, so in the meantime, we can settle for Redout 2, which was announced this week. I've always been a sucker for this genre, so it's nice to know that someone is keeping it alive. No date for this one yet, but it's likely sometime in 2022. The Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection was revealed some time back, but we got more details on it this week. It's a remastering of Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy, bringing visual improvements, 4K at 30 FPS or a lower resolution performance mode running at 60 FPS, plus there's a performance plus mode which runs at 1080p but 120 FPS. Seems kind of redundant in a game like this, and I feel like 4K 60 wouldn't have been impossible, right? Some weird choices there. It also features faster load times, 3D audio, and makes use of the DualSense controller. It'll be out on PS5 on January 28th, but curiously, there still isn't a PC release date or any recommended specs, so stay tuned for those, I guess. And finally, the only delay announcement this week was for the upcoming Star Wars The Old Republic expansion expansion titled Legacy of the Sith, which was meant to release this coming week but has now been delayed to February 15th of next year, with BioWare saying they needed more time to polish things up. While I applaud that, I'm not sure that launching your game the same week as Horizon Forbidden West, and a week before Elden Ring and Destiny 2 Witch Queen, is such a good idea. March is like right there, and it's wide open. Launch it when you can grab some headlines. February, man? February is full. So, what came out last week? Well, I'm very pleased to tell you that by all accounts, the King has returned. Halo Infinite's campaign launched this week after 6 years in development, the last of which would not have happened had the fan backlash to the initial reveal been so dire. God bless you, Craig. You died so that Halo Infinite might live. It appears as though the delay was worth it, as Halo Infinite is basking in positive praise from both critics and fans alike. OpenCritic has the campaign sitting at a mighty 86%, which is a fantastic result given what 343 had to go through to get this game made. The ever-fickle Metacritic user score sits at 8.4, and you know you've done something right when you're not getting review bombed on Metacritic. Finally, on Steam, the campaign sits at 82%, very positive. Steam reviews are always my favorite metric since they're from people that you know have actually paid money for this game rather than just angry console warriors trying to rain on Chiefs Parade. It really is awesome to see this franchise, which is so central to gaming's history, return to form, especially at a time when so many other AAA franchises are faltering. Battlefield. Like I said, I wasn't as in love with it as many others, but I certainly had a great time playing it, and coupled with the multiplayer, it's given me a lot of confidence that 343 can be the custodians of this franchise that everyone wanted them to be. Oh, and it won the Player's Choice Award this year at the Game of the Year Awards, so, you know, that's nice. Love that. So, what's coming out this week? Well, all the big hitters for the year are behind us. We do have some smaller stuff and plenty of ports to tick off. First up, Among Us arrives today for the PS5 and the Xbox, where it'll also be available on Game Pass, which is nice. Greek Memories of Azure hits PlayStation and Xbox today. Now, this is one I played earlier on PC, and I recommend it. It's a cute 2D side-scrolling adventure game, but the trick is that you're actually controlling two characters at once. This can be a little tricky to get used to at first, but when you do, you see how much is possible in terms of both combat and exploration. Lovely art style, nice music, 90% very positive on Steam. Check this one out if you're into that sort of thing. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning is getting its Fatesworn DLC today. This is literally an entirely new story chapter for this old game that they just remastered. Very weird that they would do this, but there you go. Alien Isolation arrives on Android and iOS devices on the 16th. I don't understand why you'd want to play this game on a phone. It makes no sense to me, but you can do it if you like. Please, if you do actually play this, let me know how it runs, because I just can't see how this runs on a phone. I don't understand that. Final Fantasy VII Remake hits PC on the 16th, but we covered that one earlier, so the only other one to shout out is something called The Gunk. This is a third-person action platformer set on an alien world. Definitely haven't seen too much in the way of marketing for this one, but it's coming to Game Pass on the 17th, so you can try it for yourself. Put this on your radar.
恐れの主とは我のことよ、じじい。
先生！
己が身につけし技を見せてみよ、ひろき。
Trek to Yomi was teased by Devolver Digital during their E3 presentation earlier this year, and we haven't seen anything about it since then. I haven't forgotten about this one though, as its Kurosawa aesthetic seared itself into my memory from the moment I laid eyes on it. This is like a Ghost of Tsushima demake, maintaining the classic feudal Japanese setting but keeping the action on a strict 2D plane. I'm guessing this isn't exactly an open world adventure either, with proceedings staying firmly focused on the swordplay. Already, the combat is looking fantastic, the animations here are so smooth and so fun to watch, and the way the game uses lighting and perspective is just awesome. You could actually play Ghost of Tsushima in a Kurosawa mode that reduced everything to grayscale, but you could tell the game wasn't built for that. This is, and the way the blacks stand distinct from shadows, and the way that firelight illuminates everything with this subtle grey hue, you can just tell that these developers agonized over every detail here. Trek to Yomi is currently headed to all platforms but the Switch sometime next year. I'll leave a link to the Steam page below. Sort of free stuff time, and I do believe that this is the single worst sort of free stuff week in the history of sort of free stuff, because I have no sort of free stuff to shout out here. None, nada, zilch. That zero feels bigger than a Halo ring in a segment that's all about putting you in touch with free goodies, but you know, I can't conjure them from nothing, and sadly I'm not some billionaire who could just hand out free games willy-nilly. Maybe one day I will be. I keep doing this, start hitting those Mr. Beast numbers, become a billionaire, and I'm going to give you all a copy of Godfall. because 2 weeks in a row of making fun of that game just wasn't enough. We've got to go 3 for 3. Just because there isn't anything new to shout out this week doesn't mean there isn't sort of free stuff out there. Now's the time to grab your PS Plus games, your games with gold, those free Epic games, or the Twitch Prime goodies. That's like 20 sort of free games this week, so we shouldn't get overly dramatic. We're doing okay for ourselves. Guys, our feel-good story for the week comes courtesy of the one human who can always make us feel good no matter what, Keanu Reeves. In the very same interview where Keanu would completely demolish NFTs with one high-pitched giggle, he would later go on to discuss his thoughts on the fact that people were modding Cyberpunk so that they could have sex with him. And then he just keeps going.
Now that I have you, like, what do you think about that?
Oh my God, it's always nice when it's nice. And, you know.
Yeah.
Think of how much money is important, right? So you could not even have to be there and people could have digital sex with your digital avatar. Oh my God, and then you get the suit that's probably made in Sweden or some German thing. Oh my God, and then you got the VR thing.
I hope that I do not live to see this.
Oh my God, and then they've got the data on you with your like, your arousal metrics. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, Keanu. I'm gonna have to stop him right there because I'm worried that if I let this man keep talking, I'm gonna get not only demonetized, but my entire channel is getting deleted. Guys, 1 like on the video equals 1 prayer that I can avoid the demonetization boogeyman that Keanu has now exposed me to with his filthy, brilliant musings. So for the love of God, smack that like button like I said, expose Keanu butt cheek in a VR sex mod. Ladies and gentlemen, we have but 2 more This Week in Video Games to go this year. 1 regular show next week and 1 year-end wrap-up, looking back on the biggest news stories that defined the year. Plus, I've got a Deathloop video coming out this week. Plus, I gotta do a Game of the Year video before I go on holidays, so it's a big 2 weeks of content. If you'd like to be along for the ride, please do hit the subscribe button on the video and ding the notification bell. Don't forget to check out This Week in Video Games as a podcast on your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you for stopping by, and a big thanks to this week's sponsor, Skillshare. 2020 and 2021, they kind of sucked. And when I say kinda, I mean they absolutely totally sucked. But 2022 is here, basically, and the world is a different place now. We think different, we work different, we collaborate differently. People are thinking more entrepreneurially because they've realized just how much they can get done with just a laptop and an internet connection. You can build a successful business from your couch, so long as you have the right skills to make that happen. This is where Skillshare comes in. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and curious people on topics including illustration, design, photography, video freelancing, and more. On Skillshare, millions of people come together to find inspiration and take the next step in their creative journey. For example, you might want to start doing some content creation around video games or whatever, but you don't know how. Skillshare is the perfect place to start. You might want to check out this course that teaches you the fundamentals of how YouTube works. Maybe then you want to learn how to create viral content. When it's time to shoot and edit your videos, Skillshare has stuff for that too. Thumbnails matter, big time, and you probably want to learn how to use Photoshop. Skillshare can take care of that as well. And if you already know all of this stuff and you just want to find more discipline and structure to make more content more often, there are plenty of courses to help with that as well. Skillshare's courses are put together by experts in their field, and taking part of them allows you to connect with those creators and other students. You get to build a community around the thing you are passionate about, supercharging your ambition and creativity. To get started, click the link in the description below, and as an added bonus, the first 1,000 people will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. Thanks Skillshare for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I know to do better for next time. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you really enjoyed yourself, maybe consider hitting that notification bell so you never miss a video. You can see my patrons here on the left. They're awesome. They're amazing. If you want to join them, check out my Patreon page. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.